Welcome back to the classroom, everyone. I'm Aaron Olsen, and before we dive into today's lesson, please make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow the account so you never miss an update on our A Plus Masterclass. Today we are tackling CompTIA A Plus Core 1, Objective 5.2, Troubleshooting Drive and RAID Issues. Storage is the heart of any system, so let's get in there and learn how to save the data. Before we touch a single cable, we have to establish the golden rule of storage troubleshooting. Protect the data first. Always verify that current backups exist before diagnosing or repairing storage media. We deal with HDDs that are vulnerable to mechanical shock, high-speed NVMe M2 drives that are heat sensitive, SSDs with wear leveling limits, and complex RAID arrays. But no matter the hardware, if you don't secure the data first, you are playing with fire. When you walk up to a failing system, look at the light-emitting diode, or LED, status indicators. They reveal immediate hardware states. No lights at all? Check your power and SATA cables. A solid red or amber light is a massive warning, usually indicating a disk failure in a RAID array that requires a hot swap. Constant, non-stop LED activity means disk thrashing, which could indicate a failing disk, active malware, or a system starved for RAM that is constantly paging to the hard drive. Next, use your ears. For mechanical hard disk drives, grinding and clicking sounds signal catastrophic failure. A clicking sound often means the read-write head is repeatedly resetting because it can't find a track. Grinding or scraping is the worst-case scenario. The metal head is physically scratching the magnetic platters and actively destroying data. Warning: solid-state drives are completely silent. If you hear grinding in a pure SSD system, check your fans or power supply, not the storage. In the enterprise world, servers use audible alarms to bypass visual checks and force you to pay attention. Trigger 1 is usually a single drive failure, leaving a RAID array degraded but operational. Trigger 2 is a total RAID controller failure or a completely missing array. The action plan here is critical. Do not just mute the alarm and walk away. Log into the RAID configuration utility immediately to assess the volume health. What if you turn on the PC and get a bootable device not found error? Follow this four-step process. Step 1. Check power and cables. Is the M2 seated properly? Step 2. Check the UEFI or BIOS to see if the motherboard firmware even detects the physical drive. Step 3. Check the boot order. Did the user leave a non-bootable USB thumb drive plugged in? Step 4. Check your storage mode. Did the motherboard battery die and reset the SATA mode from AHCI to RAID? If the power and cables are verified but the OS won't load, you likely have boot sector corruption. The legacy MBR, or master boot record, lives in the very first sector and is a single point of failure highly vulnerable to malware. The modern GPT, or GUD partition table, offers redundancy and robustness. To fix this, you'll need to use the OS setup disk repair options or an antivirus boot disk to rebuild that partition. Sometimes the system boots, but a secondary drive is completely missing from File Explorer. Open up Windows Disk Management. If it shows unallocated space, it detects the drive but it lacks a partition. If it shows not initialized, it's a brand new drive waiting for setup. If it shows healthy but has no drive letter, just assign it a mount point like D. Exam. Tip: if it's in disk management, it's a formatting issue. If it's entirely missing, it's a physical hardware failure. Modern drives have an internal early warning system called S.M.A.R.T, self-monitoring and reporting technology. It tracks error rates, temperatures, and failing sectors. If S.M.A.R.T pushes a pop-up alert to the operating system, failure is no longer a possibility. It is a certainty. Do not run intense diagnostic scans or defragmentation. You will stress the dying hardware. Back up the data immediately. If a system is taking forever to open or save files, you are looking at extended read-write times. For HDDs, this means bad sectors. For SSDs, it means bad blocks. The firmware is repeatedly trying to read damaged areas, causing massive delays. Run tools like chkdsk to monitor the bad sector count. If that count is rising, the drive is actively dying and must be replaced. In the enterprise, we measure performance in IOPS, input-output operations per second. Run a diagnostic utility and compare your current IOPS against the vendor's published baseline. If it's significantly lower, the hardware is faulty. But if the IOPS matches the benchmark and the system is still slow, your storage is fine. Look for network bottlenecks, application limits, or a drive that is 99% full. Data loss and file corruption can happen due to power loss during write operations, malware, or degrading physical storage. Symptoms include cannot read from source disk errors, vanishing files, or blue screens. If backups are unavailable, specialized file recovery software can sometimes salvage files. Just remember, forensic data recovery from an SSD is significantly more difficult than a mechanical HDD. When troubleshooting enterprise storage, you must know your RAID levels. RAID 0 is striping, zero redundancy, maximum speed. RAID 1 is mirroring, one-to-one redundancy, but halves your capacity. RAID 5 is striping with parity, tolerates one disk failure, and offers high read speeds. RAID 10 is a stripe of mirrors, excellent fault tolerance and speed, but very expensive to implement. When a single disk fails in a redundant array like RAID 1, 5, or 10, the RAID controller flags the volume as degraded. The good news? The data is still accessible and the OS will boot. The bad news? Read performance will drop severely because the controller has to use parity data to calculate the missing information on the fly. Exam tip: if a single disk fails in RAID 0, the volume isn't degraded, it's completely destroyed. What if the entire array goes missing and the OS halts? There are two main causes. Cause 1, too many casualties. More disks failed than the RAID level can tolerate, like losing 2 drives in a RAID 5. That array is dead. Grab your backups. Cause 2, controller failure. The actual hardware adapter card died, but the disks are totally fine. To resolve this, simply install a matching replacement RAID controller to import and restore the array. When you replace a dead drive in a degraded array, you initiate the rebuild process. If the server supports hot swapping, you can pull the failed drive and insert the new one without shutting down the OS. The RAID utility will then write multiple gigabytes of parity data to the new disk to restore redundancy. The catch? The rebuild process severely taxes the system, degrading performance until it hits 100%. And please never pull the wrong drive during a hot swap or you'll destroy the entire volume. That brings us to the Objective 5.2 diagnostic cheat sheet. We've covered everything from solid red LEDs and the clicking of death to degraded RAID arrays and missing boot records. Review this table to lock in those primary suspects. To really cement this knowledge for the exam, finish your study session today by getting some hands-on practice with PBQ-like questions at XP Boost. The link is right down in the YouTube video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.